Welcome to Running a Fever, episode 103. Am I in too good a shape? That is the topic for today. My name is Michael Davis, and at the age of 52, I lost over 70 pounds, reduced my waist size by 10 plus inches, lowered my blood pressure, increased my muscle mass, increased my energy, increased my attitude, adapted, thrived, and I am having the best time of my life right now. I love my life so much that I want to make it last as long as possible, and that's why I'm out here early in the morning, Lake Fayetteville. Overcast, started out foggy today, kind of cool, started out in the 40s, and I'm on what is projected to be a 7-mile walk today. Now, if you've been with me from the beginning, or if you've gone back and listened to the first few episodes, you know that I set a goal last year, and I'm approaching the time at which I had hoped to achieve that goal. This was in November. It's now currently almost about a month away from November 18th, which was the day that I set the goal last year. And the goal was to run 2 laps around Lake Fayetteville, which is my primary venue, my outdoor recording studio, in one day. And so it's getting close to that time, and I thought I better start warming up a little bit. Now, I've walked more than 6 miles. Today's going to be the longest continuous walk that I've had, and you know, the goal didn't state that it had to be continuous. I'm just doing that for convenience, and I think I'm going to be okay, because I've been working out quite a bit, even though I don't come out on the trail as much as I used to. And I'm keeping up a pretty good pace, because I also got a lot of activities scheduled for today. I sat down last night, and it's amazing how, if you plan a day, how you can actually accomplish quite a bit. And I kept hearing about this in these sort of motivational speaker recordings that I've been listening to. And thinking, who needs to plan? You know, it's like budgeting. All my life, I've really never been successful at writing out a budget. Howdy. More just watched what happened and adapted, right? And I might have a rough idea, but I actually wrote down 10 things that I wanted to get done today. So I got out here, I got up at the usual time that I get up during the week to go lift weights. Just 4:45. Had a little problems getting to the trail. It's a little new, but I added on at least 2 miles to the trail. That connector for Mud Creek Trail, which is actually just city streets. I noticed that, so I'm walking around the office, and you know, even people have even mentioned to me on a number of occasions that I look different. You know, I mean, my body is changing. Ask me if I'm working out, that kind of thing. Not just the loss of weight, but the change in the shape of my body due to the strength training that I've been doing and continuing to try to lose weight. And I started thinking, well, you know, and I had the same sort of feeling back when I first started this thing, and I was doing a lot of walking in the office. I've started doing more of that, and I'll just go ahead and talk about why. I'm already working out 5 days a week. I've got the new strategy. I want to say it's episode 72, it was a while back. I discussed the new strategy, but it's really fully fleshed out and fully in operation now, with the possible exception of the cardio, which I'm still working on. I get up at 4:45, I'm at the gym by 5:30, I work out for 45 minutes. Monday is chest and abs. Tuesday, calves and back. Wednesday is shoulders and abs. Thursday is legs and calves. Legs including calves, I should say. I've already hit 9,000 steps for the day, folks. And the sun's just coming up. And then Friday, my favorite day, arms and abs. Going to work, your arms are all pumped up. It feels great. Really doing great. My abs are just awesome. I mean, I so much wish that I was back on that field where I was doing calisthenics 6 o'clock in the morning at the Naval Academy before breakfast, and they made me do all these sit-ups and they were counting them to determine if I was regular or a super or a sub, and just trying to stay out of the subcategory. Any of those guys in that field, I could probably kick their butt right now in sit-ups. I mean, I am in the best shape of my life right now. And I get on the crunch machine and I'm crunching the whole weight stack, literally, and doing it like over 20 reps. You know, the other parts are still sort of catching up. Not really as good, but we're getting there. So anyway, it's pretty aggressive weight training. I'm doing heavy. I'm doing, trying to get increase for, started this week keeping track of our numbers and weights. And I'm trying to do cardio, which gets my blood pressure down and helps me burn fat. You don't do it at the same time as the lifting. So I have to try to do it in the evening, which is a little harder. Amy, who lifts with me every day, she likes to run at lunch during her lunch hour. I don't do that, never liked doing that in the middle of the day. And it's just really running on the street. I just like cycling on the street. I don't like it. I have to come to a trail like this. And I don't run anyway because of my knee. So I got a stationary bike and I try to do that in the evenings. And I've been able to do that probably about twice a week. Interval training also lowers my blood pressure and improves my heart conditioning, and is one of those keys to long life. Doing that 4 or more times a week. Not for very long, just doing it 20-30 minutes, plenty of time. So that's what I try to do. So pretty aggressive schedule, right? But my weight loss has stalled, and I'm still not at my ideal weight. Now, I think my body fat has been still going down. I mean, and I say I think because I used to have a real easy indicator of that on my scale, my eye health scale, and I'm having trouble with that. It's not working. It gives me the weight and nothing else, which is not very good for an $80 device. When the $20 grocery scale will give me BMI and all this stuff, you know, I mean, body, bone mass, everything. So not very happy about that, and on my list of things to figure out today. But my guess is it may be actually below 25% now. It's really in that range. I think I've gotten below 26. So, you know, that body fat number stayed for the longest time at between 29 and 30, even though I was losing weight, which meant I was losing muscle. Now that I've got a really good strength training program going, and I think I've actually lost muscle since the last time I checked, and then gained a little bit of it back, because based on my numbers, and this is a few weeks old, and also based on the complete nutrition scale from February, 1.3 pounds of muscle, something like that. Also, when you first start out, your muscles do not have the circulation that you have when you're working out all the time. And so they're filling up with not only blood and water, but a substance called glycogen, which is stored energy, relatively short-term stored energy, because your muscles are going to need to draw on those reserves in a short period of time, right? So they're not going to be able to take the time it takes to process fat, which is long-term energy storage. So that can increase the weight of your muscles, as well as the building and rebuilding of the actual muscle fibers. So I think all of these processes are going on, and these are all good things. These are all things that are good because I don't want to lose muscle while I'm losing weight. I really want to gain muscle, if that's even possible, while I'm losing body fat. And it appears to be that I'm at least doing that to some degree. Getting really bright now, like Fayetteville, very near the old stomping grounds at this point. Just want to say when I do a long walk like this, I treat it just like a lifting workout in terms of prep. And I do have a supplement regimen. Supplements are not necessary, but I just got to tell you, having a shake in the morning is just a lot easier than having, 8 ounces of chicken. Oh, I could do the same thing, or drink 6 eggs, like, in the Rocky movie. So I had a whey protein shake, and also my Pulse pre-workout, which is basically like having 2 or 3 cups of coffee. It's an energy drink. It's got caffeine and some other things in it. Morning. And I also hydrated, pre-hydrated, and I'm going to rehydrate when I finish this. Now it's not very warm, so I don't have that kind of factor coming in here. But I just know that 7 miles is a serious workout. Hydration is still important, even in the wintertime. And one of the factors that you have in the wintertime is it's drier, the air is drier. It doesn't hold as much moisture as warm air does. After the workout, I'll have another protein whey shake, and I also drink a post-workout supplement that provides creatine and helps build muscle, recover from damage, limit muscle damage and soreness. So I normally do that when I'm working out with weights. I don't do it before and after my cardio workout, but before a really long walk like this, I will definitely treat that the same, because I believe it will have the same impact on my body, and I will be burning a lot of energy. Haven't had breakfast. If I do have breakfast, it's also going to be a high protein one. Depends on when I get back, but I'm walking at a pretty good clip today. I'm trying to walk faster because I'm going at least 7 miles, which will take me at least 2 hours and 20 minutes. Kind of budgeted on 3 hours, and I'm hoping it doesn't take anywhere near that long. But it did take longer for me to find the trail this morning because of obviously there's no real 7-mile path that I've ever taken. Start the Mud Creek Trail, we're going around, went through a little bit of the Fayetteville city and connected up at Veterans Park, and when I get there I'll head back to the parking lot. So I'm actually closer to my house now than I am to my car, which is weird, because I didn't park anywhere on this trail. So people have been telling me, that I look different, and noticing that I've been working out, and that's a pretty good sign. I mean, that means I'm making noticeable progress, and I notice, but it's a slow progress, because I get to look at myself in the mirror every day and notice some things, because when I would glance over my shoulder, I'd notice that it looked more like a muscle and less like just a slope. And things like that. Noticing the I can see some of my veins in my arms and things like that I haven't seen. Again, never been in this good a shape my entire life. And I'm 52. Hope some people relate to that. You know, that you've been struggled, you can see a light out. No matter what your age is. If you're younger, if you're older. Back when I was losing a lot of weight and walking a lot at work, I would just get up and I'd walk 3. And toward the end of that Biggest Loser contest, which got it all started, I would walk 4 laps every hour at least. And I mean, I would have already 6,000-7,000 steps before I even left work. And then I'd go out walking. And I was concerned that maybe people would see me walking around, and because I mean, it was pretty obvious you'd see me all the time walking around the building, right? I mean, people walk around all the time, but not that much, especially when you'd see me two or three, laps go by your office or whatever. I was a little concerned that people might think I wasn't working that well, that I was spending too much time walking, not enough time at my desk. Hasn't been the case. At least no one has spoken to me in such a way and let me know that. And I'm in pretty good communication with most of my management chain and even other people, other managers around the building. It's not the impression I get at all, because I get a pretty good impression that people think well of my work. And so that's good to know, but it brings to mind now that other things are changing, right? And I am back walking around a little more because my weight has stalled, and I'm just getting back around to that topic. But concerned that I'm gonna be this guy, because I have had this impression of other people before. I'm guilty of prejudice against people who are in too good of a shape, and it may just be also not just being in good physical shape, not being visibly overweight, having good skin tone and other things, confidence, posture, poise, being well dressed, well groomed, all of these things. And you look at someone like that and you think, well, I wonder if they're really that dedicated to the job, because they may be spending too much time on their grooming, fashion, fitness, diet, etc. So I'm guilty of that prejudice. I wonder if you are too. Send me a comment or an email if you want to talk about your experience of being prejudiced against, or being prejudiced, against someone who, appears to be healthy and happy and in good shape and all these things, right? It's that kind of thing where, we know that people can't do everything, So if they look too good, something's got to be wrong. But here's the other thing I noticed. As I was walking around, I was thinking about power poses, and I watched a TED Talk, and this lady was talking about how they had done, she's an expert in body language, and how she had noticed that there are certain power positions, right? People who are more powerful, more confident, etc., will take up more space. You spread your arms out on the chair. When you raise your hand in class, she was a college professor, you'd be raising it way up high, and there are people who are all hunched over, and will just hold their hand up in front of them, and everything's all close into their body, and these are positions of anti-power or weakness, and she wondered the significance of this, how that would affect, because there was I guess she found that people were, better performers had these physical characteristics. And so they conducted a study in which they had people just get into these positions. You know, they didn't take people who were already displaying this behavior. They just put people in a room. They had them get into these physical positions. And after that, they did a couple things. Well, they measured their testosterone levels before and after. And they also sent them into an interview, a very intense interview in which the interviewer did not display any indication, positive or negative. They were trained to do this. They found that the people who were put into the power positions and told to get into these positions had higher levels of testosterone after they did that than before. More of these people were given positive marks by the interviewers. And so just getting in the position, just acting like a powerful person affects how powerful you can be. And I was thinking about that as I was walking around. And there's some debate on this. If you go on the internet, just look up power poses, you'll find lots of pictures of Wonder Woman with her hands on her hips, and debates for and against. But anyway, I thought about powerful people I know, department heads, CEOs, and I tried to think of any of those that displayed the weak positions, the bad posture, the scowl on your face, I suppose Hitler might have been one of those guys who had a scowl on his face, at least those are the pictures we see. I wonder if he did that around people that were closer to him. I don't know. Other anti-heroes, perhaps. But nonetheless, powerful people. So is this a contradiction? Is it contradictory that we suspect people who are fit and that successful people, our leaders, are fit? Or is it all just one big conspiracy and the fit people are promoting fit people who are incompetent? I don't think it's the latter, personally. I'll just go ahead and state my opinion on that. It just doesn't make sense that the world would be run by incompetent people. Things would quickly fall apart. Some people may think they have, so I'll allow for that, but I don't think so. I think that it's a good thing. Well, that suspicion can be overcome with competence. And maybe, in some people, it's not across the board. I give people a chance, but there is that kind of suspicion though. And other professions too, I see it. I wonder about the doctor who writes books. How can you take care of people if you're busy writing books? You know what I mean? Things like that. So I don't know if you believe in the whole power pose thing. If you want to try it next time you're going into your meeting, get into that victory stance, like you see the runners as they come across the finish line. They throw up their hands in a big V and raise their chin. They have won and they are victorious. Go somewhere where you can be alone. Don't do it out in public. Do that, or get into the Wonder Woman pose. Legs wide stance, and hands on your hips or fists on your hips, and see what happens. See if you behave differently or people react differently to you. Well, we're coming up on the spillway. There was no sun on the dam, by the way. No sun coming up. It's just a cloudy, overcast day. Started out with fog. I can already hear the water coming over, which is expected because we've had a little rain recently. And at the same time that it has cooled off on the unseasonably warm days in October. And as always, let me know what your results are from the Poise experiment, or your thoughts on prejudice against people who are fit, people who are confident and well-groomed and well-dressed. Drop me a comment on YouTube or mail at runningaFever.com. Whatever you do, keep the fever, and I'll talk to you next time.
This is the Padua Podcast Network. PaduaMedia.com.